You can see. Okay, so inshallah, you can begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Fatiha binatin nafi wal intifa' wa ta'alim wa ta'allumi wal ittiba' bin nabil mukhtar fi sirri wal ijhar wa bi niyyati tanasuri wa ta'awuni wa ta'adudi 'ala ad-din wa iqamati syari'ati sayyidil mursalin wa anna Allah yarzuquna kamalan nashati wal himmati wal jiddi wal ijtihad fi talabil 'ulumi an-nafi'ati wa 'amali biha ma'al ikhlas وطول العمر في طاعة الله ورسوله وحسن الخاتمة عند الموت إلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم افتح علينا بفتوح العارفين وفقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل واهدنا إلى سواء السبيل. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم وأكرمنا بالتقوى وجملنا بالعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ارزقنا يا ربي فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Before we begin, any questions? If there are no questions, then inshallah I will just recap on certain things, and the mubtalat, the things that nullify, I will skip first, because if not it will take too much time. But if you all have any questions with regards to mubtalat, then things that nullify the fast, then you all can raise up and ask the questions lah. But if not, I will try to add some commentaries in my slides when I do the slides for the mubtalat, the things that nullify the fast, and then you all can look into it. Then if not, in 2 weeks time, then you all can come back and then you can ask questions with regards to that lah. Naam. So just if we can recap the text from Risalah Jami'ah. قال الشيخ المؤلف وأدام الله النفع به وبكم في دارين آمين رضي الله عنكم. It says الصوم وأما الصوم وهو الثالث من أركان الإسلام فهو إمساك معروف على وجه مخصوص منه النيات لكل يوم وتبيتها من الليل والإمساك عن المفطرات من الطعام والشراب والجماع والاستمناء بمباشرة والاستقاءة بالاختيار. Fasting, Saum is the third pillar of Islam. It is well-known abstinence with special characteristics. Then I add in my note. If you see in the slides, if you see note in brackets, that is my own additions, which means abstinence upon a specific way. And among them are making the daily intention during the preceding night and abandoning all things which break the fast, including food, drink, sexual intercourse, masturbation, and self-inducing vomiting. So this whole chunk of text, actually you can actually divide it into a few parts. The first part is that the author is giving us an introduction into what fasting is. So when he says wa amma sawmu wa huwa thalithu min arkanil Islam, all the way until ala wajhin makhsus, the author is actually just giving us an introduction onto what is fasting. And then when the author move on to an-niyatu li kulli yawmin wa tabituha min al-layl, all the way till the end, this whole paragraph refers to the integrals of fasting. So yes, as what we have mentioned, the introduction of fasting, the author mentions that fasting is the third pillar of Islam. And just to share, usually scholars classify fasting, some scholars classify fasting as the fourth and zakat as the third pillar. But whatever it is, fasting, zakat are among the five pillars of Islam. Those who follow the zakat to be the third pillar takes from the hadith of Jibril, where the hadith of Jibril mentions al-Islamu an tashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah أن تشهد أن تشهد أن تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة. So then وتصوم Ramadan. So it goes, the first pillar would be to witness that there's no God but Allah, and that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Prophet of Allah, the messenger of Allah, and then to establish prayer, and then to give the zakat, and following which is to fast in the month of Ramadan. So fasting is the, so it is just a technical differences, but actually it's the same. And the definition of fasting, I think we have went through this last week, where we said that linguistically, when we talk about fasting, we are looking into abstention and inactivity, and we have mentioned that you can see that in Surah Maryam. But when we look into the Shar'i definitions, which is abstention from eating and drinking and all other acts that break fast for one complete day. So this is the specific conditions with the intention of fasting, which is the specific intention from the break of dawn till the setting of the sun. That means there's a specific time to fasting. So some scholars will classify it as abstention from eating and drinking, and all other acts that break the, abstention from eating and drinking and all other acts with specific conditions, with specific intention, in a specific time. So this is another definition that some scholars use, but the more complete definition is one that you see here. So from here, the integral fastings are two. Some scholars who put three, but that's the same thing. It is just a technical differences, but it is but essentially they are the same. The first one is to make the intention every night, and the second one is to abstain from anything that can nullify the fast. Now, so this one is just a repeat from last week. Okay, so I wanted to sidetrack again, because last week I mentioned about this, but I think I didn't explain it clearly enough. So when we talk about the historical stages of fasting, this is just a sharing now. So in the past, before the obligation of fasting was sent down, what Rasulullah SAW and the companions did was that they fast for the first 3 days of every month. And the first 3 days of every month, and they fasted on the day of Ashura. On the day of Ashura. Then that's when I mentioned the Yom Kippur, right? The day of Yom Kippur, the day of Ashura. So after the revelation of Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 183, which is the Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O you who believe, it has been decreed upon you to fast, just as how it was decreed upon those who of the tribes of the Qawm before you, in so that you may attain piety. So this is, so after that, then what happened was that now they have to fast in the month of Ramadan. Now they have to fast in the month of Ramadan, but for them they have an option. If I don't want to fast, I can have the option of paying fidyah instead. So that is the first part. And then at this time, right, the way they fast was that they are allowed to eat and they are allowed to drink and they are allowed to approach their wife at night. But once they sleep, they are no longer allowed to eat. But they are still able to, choose to pay fidyah instead. So what happened was that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I worked till night and I was too tired and I fell asleep. So he didn't eat any food and he didn't eat any drink. So now he didn't eat any food and he didn't drink to break his fast. So can you imagine, for him now, he has a second day which he has to go about without him eating anything and without him drinking anything. And then Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu did complain about the same thing. He went to Rasulullah SAW. He said that he made I think he said that he ate and he drank, or he Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, I think the story is that he came upon his wife. Let me just confirm on this. And what happened was that after he came upon his wife, I think he fell asleep, and from then on, he went to bed. So from then on, so he also in a sense made a complaint that when he wake up after that, now he cannot eat or he cannot drink. So what happened? So then from there, Allah revealed Surah Al-Baqarah verse 187, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Uhilla lakum siyam. Sorry. Yeah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Uhilla lakum laylatul siyami rafathu ila nisaikum. Hunna libasun lakum wa antum libasun lahun. علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. So the main thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, that the main thing of this verse was that now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now you may approach them to eat, to drink, and to approach your wife and seek that which Allah has prescribed for you, and eat and drink till the first streak of light of dawn appears, and then complete the fast till the night comes. So from here, now they are able to eat before even after they have fall asleep, as long as it is before subuh. But after that, the third stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ فَمَنْ كَانَ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and whoever who observes the month, the month of Ramadan, then he must fast in its entirety. So in this case, now everyone must fast. So if he does not fast, he must make up for it. He must make qada, and there is no longer an option for fidya for a person who is able to fast. And this is the fast that we go through now. So this is just the historical stages of fasting that happen in stages in Islam. Okay, so you don't want to go through too much. I just want to look into the fifth part where there's a highlight. So the one who must fast, they are the Muslims. They reach age of puberty. They are mentally sound. They are capable of fasting, and they are not sick. That means that that prevents a person from fasting, or they are not a traveler. So for a person who is sick, and there is a certain kind of sickness, and for a traveler, and there are certain special criteria that must be fulfilled. For these people, they can choose not to fast. They can choose not to fast, and they can qada at a later time. So that's why I want to zoom into this, because I think last week I didn't go through this. So who are these people who is considered to be not sick and they are not a traveler? So those who are, what is the sickness that actually grants you concession to break the fast? So these people these are the sickness which is similar to that grants you concession to do tayammum. They're not exactly the same, but what it means is that for tayammum, if a person, the conditions or the thing that allows you to do tayammum is if you use water, then your illness would be aggravated. Your sakitnya tambah. Or if you use water, then your recovery will be delayed. Or if you use water, then after that you lose a functioning organ. Or if you lose water, then there is a form of harm upon the person's self. So in this case, likewise, the sickness that grants concession to break fast is that if a person continues to fast, then his illness will be aggravated. So if a person continues to fast, and the illness will get worse, either because it is because the state of fasting, or it is because he doesn't consume medication that he needs to consume. He doesn't consume medication that he needs to consume. Therefore, in this case, this illness allows him to break the fast. The second one is if he continues to fast, his recovery will be delayed. If it's you're supposed to take recovery of 3-4 days, and then but because of fasting, your recovery significantly increases to about a month, for example. Then for these kind of cases, you are given concession to break the fast, to not fast, and to qada after the month of Ramadan. The third one is that if he continues to fast, he may lose a functioning organ. So if I'm not wrong, one of the examples that I have heard before is, I think, people who go through cataract operations. So they go through cataract operation. One of the things that they need to do is they need to continuously stay hydrated. So they need to keep drinking water. And if they don't drink water, they can lose instead of their sight being better, they can lose their sight. So for people like this, it is wajib, it is compulsory for them to not fast. And it is compulsory for them to not fast. And the fourth one is if he continues to fast, he harms himself. Let's say he fasts, then there is a certain form of harm that can befall upon him. Therefore, it is not compulsory for him to fast. But all in all, when we talk about illnesses and whether to ascertain whether we should fast or we should not fast, then the one that we need to look, or the person who we need to go to, is a medical professional, and a Muslim medical professional that is qualified and that is pious. Now, when we look at pious here, usually we look at adil, a person who is just,
So there's a common cold warrant itself to be inside one of these.
Yeah. Okay. So the common cold usually it does not get aggravated if you don't fast. It doesn't get aggravated. Your recovery is still about the same. And of course the last two doesn't apply lah. Unless of course maybe a scenario that I can think of, maybe you are fasting during winter, and you have a common cold, and because of the situation or the conditions that you're in, if you don't take anything to cure yourself, then your situation may get worse. You may develop fever, or you can develop pneumonia because you're inside such a cold environment. Yeah, but usually for common cold, not really. Usually, or if you sprain your ankle, definitely not. Sprain your ankle, definitely not. Yeah. So now the next thing is, who is considered to be a traveler? I think this is actually very important. So there are actually conditions. When we talk about traveler, there are actually conditions on the traveler itself in the month of Ramadan. So the person must fulfill 3 conditions. The first condition is what we all know, which is his travel must exceed 89 km, 2 marhalain, must exceed 89 kilometers. And for Singapore, usually we calculate it from the Singapore border itself. The second one is the purpose of his travel is permissible. It cannot be makruh or haram. For example, Hakim, you're in Melbourne. Okay, so for example, you're in Melbourne, and then you go to Queensland, for example, and you go to Queensland to visit a relative, for example. Then the hukum is sunnah. It's sunnah for you to visit a relative. So therefore, this is a permissible form of travel. Or the next one is, for example, I am from Singapore and I want to go to because the border is opening in 1st of April. I want to go to Kelantan to buy. I want to go Kelantan to buy the kuih raya, for example. Then in this case, the hukum to buy kuih raya, to buy your cake and things like that, all this is It's not makruh, it is mubah. It is okay. It is permissible for you to do so. So therefore, even this kind of travel, it is okay for you not to fast. And the third one is that he leaves the border of his city. This is the most important one, which is people tend to overlook, is that he leaves the border of his city before the light of dawn. That means before subuh. That means you must leave. If you are on the travel, you must leave before subuh itself. So you must leave the border before subuh itself. So if you are, for example, you're flying, then your flight must take flight before subuh itself. So this is the third one. Is usually what people tend to miss out. People tend to miss out on this part. So for example, yeah,
Mal, if you are saying the aeroplane, that doesn't qualify. You
yours
must fly off, must be
must
in air lah.
must be in the air lah, yeah. As in the plane dah macam dah nak take off lah. Yeah, it's already like on take off. Yeah, I mean there are contemporary scholars who take the opinion that the airport is the airport is considered international territory, and they say that this is already out of Singapore. But this is a lot of scholars actually they disagree with this lah. Yeah. So usually we say when they have left, when they take off. So now, so if you travel, now the question is, when do you buka puasa? When do you have to break fast? So let's say I am going to I'm going westwards. So let's say I'm going to see Kairin at France. So my flight is at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Singapore time. I travel and then I let's say it's a direct flight, and then I reach France. I'm not too sure what's the timing, but let's say I reach at 3 p.m. France time. So throughout the whole time there, and maybe France kalau 3 p.m. Let's say it's a 12-hour difference, then Singapore is already 3 a.m. Let's say. So that means I can buka puasa already. But the problem is, France cannot buka puasa. So for Khairin, he cannot buka puasa. But for me, I can buka puasa. Right. So now this becomes a problem. So do I follow Singapore time or do I follow the local time? The answer is I have to follow the local time. So when you travel, when do you puasa, or when do you start fasting, or when do you break your fast, it is determined by the place of is determined by your exact location at that very time. Determined by your location at that very time. So if I am going to France, I mean during my whole journey, if I reach France, then France would be my sorry, it's not if I reach France, is at that point of time, what is the waktu? What is the waktu? Has it been Maghrib yet? So because it's haven't Maghrib yet, therefore I don't have to, or I cannot buka. So I need to wait all the way until reach France, and from France wait all the way until Maghrib. Then after that I will break my fast. So what if you cannot tahan? So what if you cannot tahan? If you cannot tahan, if you really cannot tahan, then you break your fast. Then you break your fast. So the best is if I go visit Hakim, because it's faster. I cheat time. If you go eastwards, I go visit Hakim, and then after that you'll be faster. Then my puasa pendek je. So that is if I travel eastwards. So in the Shafi'i madhab, it is actually better for the traveler to fast than to leave the fast. Although it is better, but it is not makruh. It is better, but it is not makruh. It is not makruh for a person to actually leave the fast. It is okay. It's mubah. It is mubah. It is not makruh. And this differs from the opinion of Imam of the madhab Hanbali and Hanafi, because madhab Hanbali and Hanafi says that if there's a concession, the concession is given to you by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, then you take the concession. okay, so this is the part on niat, and I think we have gone through. So this part, inshallah, I think I will just share the slides with you guys, and then you all can read from here. Yeah. So maybe I just quickly recap. So niat must be made between dusk and dawn. Yeah, the niat must be made between dusk and dawn, between maghrib and subuh, and then it must be made every night. And then the specification, I think this one we have gone through. I don't think we need to recap this, because mainly we are going to specify the obligatory fast of the month of Ramadan. And then the intention, as we have mentioned, that it is for us, we need to meet the intention every night, because every fast is every new day, every day of fasting is a form of ibadah. It's one ibadah by itself. But for the Maliki Madhab, they see that fasting in the whole of Ramadan is one ibadah by itself. So then after that we can calculate. So I think this one we have mentioned. This one I will share also. Yeah. So this is the sirah, the how you mention the intentions to fast. Okay. And then we have said that if you have forgotten your intent, if you have forgotten to make the intentions, then after that what you can do is you need to observe, do you do anything that signifies or that indicates of your intent to fast the next day, and which is we have said, like for example, we do the suhoor, or you set an alarm to wake up for suhoor, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then this is the abandoning all things which break fast. There are 15, but I haven't finished the slides actually. I'm trying my best to put some explanations also, and put examples, but for now I only up to 6. I've been trying to do this since morning, but I'm really sorry about that. So ala kulli hal, I think maybe I will try to complete the slides either by this weekend, if not by next weekend, and then I will share with you guys the slides which would basically encompass everything that we have gone through, and more if there is a necessity to go to for me to add in. I think if I feel that there are some things which I would like to add lah. But other than that, mainly I think just be patient, and I will send the slides. So inshallah we will continue with the next part of the next paragraph of Risalah Jami'ah. قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى: ومن تمام الصوم كف الجوارح أما يكرهه الله من الأعضاء سبعة آتي ذكرها. ففي الحديث: خمس يفطرن الصائم: الكذب والغيبة والنميمة واليمين الكاذبة والنظر بشهوة. خمس يفطرن الصائم. then after that there's a repeat. ومن تمام الصوم تحري الإفطار على حلال وعدم الاستكثار من الأكل. Amongst the things which perfect the fast is refraining of the limbs from things which Allah the Exalted dislikes. The 7 limbs which need to be restrained will be discussed later. It has been said in a hadith that 5 things nullify the act of fasting. Nullify the act of the fasting person: lies, backbiting, slander, false oath, and looking with desire. Among the things which perfect the fast are hastening to break the fast with halal food and not eating a great deal. So the thing is, there are 3. Imam Al-Ghazali breaks the fast into 3 stages. Maybe I shall do some. So Imam Ghazali Al-Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, he breaks the fast into three categories. So he says that the fasting can be broken into three categories. The first one is the category of the commoner. The second one is the category of the specific people. And the third one is the category of the specific people. Yes, of course, I'm loosely translating it. So the first one is al-awwam. Al-awwam. The second one is al-khawas. Al-khawas. And the third one is al-khawas bil-khawas. Oh. So the third one is al-khawas bil-khawas. Why did I get disconnected? So yeah. So the first one, sorry, yeah. So Imam Ghazali say the first one is al-awwam, which is the common folk. Second one is al-khawas. And the third one is al-khawas. So what is the difference between these three groups? So the first group is usually, I mean, as it says, is usually the common people. Al-awam, the first group, al-awam, these are the people who just refrain themselves from doing things that nullify their fast. So the first group of people, they do things that nullify their fast. Okay, so this group is they prevent from doing things that nullify their fast. That nullifies their fast. The next group, al-khawas, what they do, they prevent themselves from making sins. This is the second group. They prevent themselves from doing anything that can lead them to sins. And this is what the musannif, what the person, the author, Imam Ahmad bin Zain al-Habshi, is trying to share in this paragraph. That we need to prevent ourselves from making sins. And the last one is al-khawas bil-khawas. Al-khawas bil-khawas, these are the extremely specific group of people, extremely special group of people. These people prevent themselves from doing anything other than remembering Allah. They prevent themselves from doing anything other than remembering Allah. So this is the extreme, this is the highest group of people, khawas bil khawas, and all of them are doing some form of, all of them are performing some form of fasting. So the first one, for orang awam, we prevent ourselves from eating, from drinking, from doing things that that can potentially, we concern ourselves from, about, let's not just do this, we concern ourselves in stopping ourselves in doing things that can nullify our fast. So that is a lot of us, our category is awam. But for people who are khawas, the people who are special, or the specific group of people, they prevent themselves from making sins. So the first thing that they do is they will always they prevent themselves from abusing their 7 body parts. So what are the 7 body parts? The 7 body parts here means the tongue. So you have they prevent themselves from abusing their tongue. The vices of the tongue, the vices of the stomach, the vices of the eye, the vices of the ear, the vices of the hand, the vices of the feet, and the vices of the private parts. So there's the seven parts, the 7 body parts. Let me just type the 7 body parts. 7 body parts that is mentioned there, right? In the 7 body parts is what they mean is, number 1 is the stomach, number 2 is the eyes, sorry, number 2 is the tongue, number 3 is the eyes, number 4 is the ears, number 5 is the limbs, I think. Number 5 is the hand. 6 is the feet, and number 7 is the private parts. So for us, I think we can understand most of it: tongue, eyes, ears, hand, feet, private parts. But usually things, how do you sin with the stomach? Like, how do you sin with the stomach? So the main thing about sinning with the stomach actually comes from your nafkah, how you attain your food, how you attain your nafkah. So do you engage in usury? Do you engage in riba? Do you engage in rashwah? Do you engage in bribery? Do you engage in corruption? So all these kind of things, it is even more for people who are in constant fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when it comes to Ramadan, they are also very concerned about the work that they do. So usually for a commoner, when it comes to Ramadan, they try to, their standard of their work is less, because aku tengah puasa, penat tak mau buat. But for them, these people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when what they are more fearful of is for them to make sin in the month of Ramadan, because the whole idea of Ramadan, or the whole beauty of Ramadan, is everything that is normal, everything that is usually, it is okay for you to do, it is now some form of, it is something that is revered, and is something that has a high stature with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the smell of the mouth, the smell of the mouth of a person who fasts, it is dearer to him, it is more beautiful to him, or it is more fragrant to him than misk. And we all know that during fasting, during the month of Ramadan, when you are fasting, that your sleep is also a form of worship, right? That your sleep itself is also a form of worship. Therefore, when we look into, therefore there are so many things that allows you to gain rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are very fearful of falling into the trap of losing the rewards with sins, just because of certain things that they do. So for a person who is in the month of Ramadan, all the more they will try their best to make sure that everything that they do is halal. Everything that they do is halal. And then of course the tongue, to prevent from backbiting, to prevent from slandering, to prevent from making false oaths, to prevent from being vulgar, all these kind of things would cause you to lose the rewards of your fasting. And then the eyes, of course, in the month of Ramadan, all the more, some people say Instagram break, Instagram puasa, fasting in the month of Ramadan, deactivate Instagram, delete Facebook. But I think it's a good start. It's a good start. Because you want to really try to take care of your eyes. Now in the month of Ramadan, can you imagine that for your tongue in the month of Ramadan, in other months, if you recite the Quran wrongly, then the Quran would curse upon you if you recite wrongly. No, I mean if you recite wrongly, the Quran would curse you. But in the month of Ramadan, because it is encouraged to read the Quran, even if you read the Quran wrongly, then the Quran will not curse you. So that is to the extent that, even for your tongue, I mean, of course, reading the Quran wrongly is not the vice of the tongue, but it can be a fallacy that can happen from the tongue. But because of Ramadan, the significance of Ramadan, that even reading the Quran, if you are struggling to read the Quran, then it is even better for you. It is even better for you. And for your eyes, that is the time for you to look in the Quran. That is the time for you to look into the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not to spend it to make ma'asiyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ears to take care from doing things from listening to backbitings, from listening to things that has no benefit to us. Min husni islamil mar'i tarku ma la ya'ni. From the goodness of a person's religion is that he leaves what does not concern him, or what does not concern him. So these are the things that we need to take care of. And then the author Muslim, Imam Ahmad bin Zain al-Habshi, he went on to say that khamsun yuftirna al-sa'imi khamsun yuftirna al-sa'ima al-kadhibu wal-ghiba wal-namima wal-yaminu al-kadhib wan-nadharu bi shahwatin. So these are 5 things that it does not nullify your fast, but it nullifies the rewards of your fast. So I think Al-Habib Zain bin Smith, actually they put it as, you can put it as 6 things. 6 things. So based on the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kam min sa'imin laysa min siyamihi illa ju' wal atash. That how many people, kam min sa'imin, how many people who fast, laysa lahu min siyamihi, he does not gain anything from his fast, illa al-ju' wal atash, except for hunger and thirst. So all these illa al-ju' wal atash, all the more we have to be careful. People, it's a shame if we try to refrain from eating, we try to refrain from drinking, we go through our day in a state of tired, that we tire ourselves, but at the end of the day we gain nothing from our fast except for ju', which is hunger, and atash, which is thirst. So the first thing is ghiba. Ghiba, al-kadhib. Okay, maybe we follow this. The first 3 that is yeah. Okay, so the first one, which is al-kadhib. Al-kadhib is a person who lies. The kadhib is a person who lies. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the person who lies in Surah An-Nahl, verse 116, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمُ الْكَذِبَ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. And do not do not say amongst you to whatever that to whatever that has been described by your tongue as a lie, by saying that this is halal and this is haram, in order for you to make a lie to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily, innal ladhina yaftaruna 'ala Allahi al-kadhiba la yuflihun. People who mix up lies towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they do not gain a single thing. So there are certain things which we need to be careful of. One of it is to be careful about what we share with others and what we send to others, and what we, not only from our tongue but with our own fingers. In a hadith, Rasulullah SAW says, "Kafa bil mar'i kadiban an yuhadditha bikulli ma sami'a." It is enough for a person to be considered to be a liar if he says, if he spreads, or if he says everything that he hears, and then he tell people. These people are also considered to be kadhib, people who lie. So but there are exceptions to lying. There's exception to lying. Then there are actually three things. There are three things which it is okay to lie. There are three things which is okay to lie. So I think orang Melayu suka cakap bohong sunat. But actually, even to our teachers, they say that even in the month of fasting, three things that are allowed to lie. So even our teacher says in the month of fasting also, the people who are khawas, the people who are special, they will even prevent themselves from mentioning these three lies. The first one is a lie that a husband gives to his wife to please her. That means, for example, if your wife gives you something like she cooks for you, let's say she cooks for you, and then she asks you, how's the food, and then you actually didn't like it, but you said that you like it. So this is an example of the lie. The second one is a lie that someone makes to bring peace between two opposing parties. So the second one is, for example, I see I see Hasbi and Hakim not happy with each other. Tapi alhamdulillah, they are very good friends. But let's say Hakim and Hasbi not happy with each other. Therefore, what I can do is I say to Hasbi, actually Hakim said these things about you, very good things about you. You know, he say you I say Hakim actually said, you know, you're a good person, you know, you're a great lad. And then I tell Hakim, so Hasbi said, you know, you're a great lad, you're actually a nice guy. This one, he asked me to respect you and things like that. Therefore, I mean to yeah. So in this case, then in this case, this is something that is permissible. So that the two opposing parties that has a certain form of animosity with each other, eventually they are able to patch up. And the third one that is you're allowed to lie, the third scenario where you're allowed to lie is to mislead in a war, to mislead the enemy. This is the third thing that you're allowed to lie. Okay. So that's the first one. al-kadhib, al-kadhib, which is to lie. The second thing that nullifies your your that nullifies your rewards of fasting is riba. So riba is you riba is that you speak ill of another person. So you speak ill of another person. So for example, I say about so and so. I say, you know, so and so, he has this you know, he made this mistake, or so and so, he has this kind of flaws, so and so, you know, even though that it is true, but this is something that would nullify your rewards of fasting, That's why what is encouraged during the month of Ramadan is to be silent. If you cannot do any, if you are unable to engage yourself in dhikr, then be silent in the month of Ramadan. If you are unable to read the Quran, if you're not going to read the Quran, you are not able to engage in dhikr, then just be quiet. I don't say hey, I met so and so, or I heard this about so and so. That diam. In the month of Ramadan, quiet. That is better for someone. And then the third one that Imam Ahmad bin Zain al-Habshi said is namima. So backbiting, and this is namima, slander. So slander means to cause friction between two groups by spreading lies. So I say this, I now is the opposite. I tell Hakim, Hazbi said this about you. And then I tell Hazbi, Hakim said this about you. Then that add fuel to the fire. And what happened is that it causes even more animosity between the two of them. There's a story after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there was the camp of Muawiyah bin Sufyan, and another group of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. And the group of Muawiyah bin Sufyan is Sayyidatina Aisha. So one of them, I can't remember which group, either Sayyidatina Aisha's group or Sayyidina Ali's group, they actually came to each other and they wanted to patch up. Not patch up. They wanted to show that although that politically they disagree, but it is still, strong relationship. But the Khawarij, there was a group of Khawarij, and this group, they wanted to cause destruction. So they went to each opposing party and they said, why do you think they come here in big numbers? Why do you think out of nowhere they come here? And then they go to the another party, and then why do you think they come here? So they give these bad thoughts and lies and animosity within each other. And then the Khawarij, they just attacked two camps, and then from there there was an ensued battle. And how many of the Sahaba, how many of the companions of Rasulullah SAW passed away through that way? So this is a very big thing. It's a very big thing to engage in namima, to cause animosity between parties by spreading lies. It is actually a very huge sin. The next one is to wal yaminul kadhiba, which is to make a false oath. This is something which I want to, alhamdulillah, I think for us, we don't really have this problem. We don't have this problem such that we are not people who tend to like to say wallahi. But in terms of qasam, in terms of making oath or yamin, then there are three ways you make yamin, or you make qasam, or you make an oath. Either you say wallahi, billahi, or tallahi. So there are three ways you can make this. And alhamdulillah, I think it is not our culture. It is not our culture to say wallahi. But I see when my sister was in, I don't know, Hakim, your area there, the Muslim, they like to say wallahi, wallahi.
Tak. I know in UK a lot of the
Yeah,
Muslims.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. I see the I see the some of the Londoners. I think it was like London. I think they were talking about, yeah. So like the football punya tu, right? And say wallahi brother, wallahi. Then yeah. So it's yeah. It is not a good thing. If you, for example, you make a lie and you say wallahi, then in order for you to retract from the lie, then you must do kafara. There's kafara here, I mean. So that is another thing that we refrain from doing. And then the last one is one nadaru bi shahwatin, which is to look at things that is not allowed for us. That is not allowed for us. For example, we look at the aurat of a lady who is ajnabiyah, then it destroys our pahala. And all this will actually have an effect in the quality of our ibadah in the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in surah An-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions kulil mu'minin yaghuddu min absarihim wa yahfadhu furujahum dhalika azka lahum inna allaha khabirun bima tasna'un. He says, say to the believers, kulil mu'minin yaghuddu bi aswa yaghuddu min absarikum, to lower their gaze. And this is not only to men, but it is also to a lady also. Both are told to lower their gaze. Yaghuddu min absarikum, yaghuddu min absarihim wa yahfadhu furujahum, and to safeguard their private parts. Dhalika azka lakum, that is better, that is purer, that is more lebih suci untuknya. Innallaha khabirun bima tasnaun, verily Allah knows over what you do. So and in fact Rasulullah SAW says the to see is it is like an arrow. The gaze of a mu'min, it is on to something that is haram. It's like a poison arrow, and it's like a poison arrow. It becomes a poison arrow because it affects you, and it is something that you will only feel, or you may not feel, or the effect will take, it will take time for the effect for you to feel. And then you find yourself harder to do your tarawih, you find yourself harder to do your fasting, you find yourself harder to make ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All this because you did not take care of your gaze. Now, and then the last one here is that to and looking with desire. Okay, that's the last one. And actually there's one more, which is to speak in another narration, which is to be vulgar. And that is the sixth one. The next sixth one that actually nullifies your fast, your you can add in is being vulgar. Based on the narration by Rasulullah SAW, man lam yada' qawla az-zuri wal 'amala bih falaysa lillahi alayhi hajatun fi an yada'a ta'amuhu wa sharabahu. Whoever who does not leave speaking, he does not leave, vulgarities and acting upon and vile actions, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not intend for it from him his fast, and when he abandons his food and his drink. So what this means is that for a person who when we are in the month of Ramadan, speak good, speak well, and say things that are good. We need to practice to restrain our tongue. Don't be amongst those who, whenever they are whenever that people talk, whenever something happens only, the first thing that comes out from our mouth, are things that are the things that are vulgar. Nah. The author says among the things which perfect the fast are hastening to break the fast with halal food and not eating a great deal. Hastening to break the fast with halal food. The first part is to hasten to breaking of fast. So actually, some scholars they say that one of the benefit that we get from the people of Khawas bil Khawas, or the people of Khawas, is that Allah makes it sunnah for us to hasten our fast. Hasten to break our fast. Dia jadi sunnah untuk kita mempercepatkan buka puasa. Pasal apa? Because why? Because of the khawas, this special group of people. Because for them, if it is sunnah to drag on the fast, then they will have drag on the fast. But because of that, Allah makes it say that Allah makes it sunnah to hasten the breaking of fast. Therefore, for us orang awam, apa lagi ya? Azan je bedal. Azan je bedal. So that is the amongst the benefit that we get from this group of people. And then with halal food. With halal food. So all the more with halal food, this is something that we need to pay close attention. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah SAW says to sa'imin farhatan, farhatun inda fitrihi wa farhatun inda liga'i rabbihi. Augamagala Rasulullah SAW says, for a person who fasts, there are two happiness. First, the happiness when he breaks his fast, inda fitrihi. And then the second one is the happiness when he meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for us, we need to take care of the sanctity of this happiness. We need to pay close attention, and we need to take care of the sanctity of this happiness that we feel, that we receive, because we spend our whole the whole day, like we spend 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours of fasting only for us to destroy it by eating with that is not halal. And sometimes we don't get food, about over halal or not halal, including that is not halal, is eating things which has rashwa, from things that are from rashwa, from bribery, from riba. And also be careful. My advice, I think, is that when it comes to fasting month, be careful who you buy your food from. Be careful who you buy your food from. If can, don't buy from outside. Eat whatever that is cooked from the produce that your family buys, from you and your family. Whatever that your mother has cooked for you, you can eat from there. But if you need to, look at who you buy from. Look at who you buy from. So if you can find this place, if this place, you see it is a man Pak Haji. You see, okay, I always see him at the mosque. Okay lah, better for me to buy from him, even though that it is not the most tasty one. If you see a person, with tattoos and things like that, of course we say we don't judge them, but from just their zahir, we know that if they cannot take care of the zahir, what more can they? How can we trust them to take care over their foods? I am not judging you. I'm just being concerned. I'm not judging you to condemn you, but I'm judging you because I want to be concerned over what I eat. I'm not saying that you're ahli neraka. I'm not saying that you're ahli nar. But I'm just saying that I prefer not to eat from you, just to take care of my own self. Yeah. So even Ustaz Abu Zaki, our teacher Ustaz Abu Zaki, he already said, when it comes to fasting month, or he said that he prefers to eat at places that has no halal certificate. Wait. No halal certificate. So what is the places that have no halal certificate? He said the places that have no halal certificate are those yang Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the owner, confirm Muslim owned, from the mamak stall ke apa. yang Bismillah berani ke apa. All these, they don't need a halal certificate. Uh, then we just to complete this, وينبغي الاستكثار من الصوم لا سيام الأيام فاضلة في الشرع والله أعلم وبالله التوفيق. And it is good to fast often, especially on the days of this that Islam has considered special. Allah knows best and success is for him. On this part, I would like to encourage all of us to fast at least the 6 days after Shawwal, in the month of Shawwal. If can, after the first day of Shawwal, the next 6 days immediately we make our fast. Because Rasulullah SAW said, "As-sawmul junnah." Fasting is a shield, it's a form of protection. So the whole month of Ramadan, we are protected from shaitan. So when it comes to after the month of Ramadan, once you finish the month of Ramadan, immediately go back to that protection. And then Rasulullah SAW says, whoever who fasts 6 in the month of Shawwal, it is as low as he has fasted for kasawm dahr. That means he has fasted for a year. So it's likewise for us. We try, if we are able to fast that 6. Inshallah, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will protect us from shaitan as if for the whole year also. Wallahu a'lam bisawab. Any questions? If there's no question, Danish, you can read the Wiridul Latif.
Boleh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاسات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاسات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاسات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. ربي أعوذ بك من حمازات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. ربي أعوذ بك من حمازات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. ربي أعوذ بك من حمازات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. فتعالى الله الملك الحق لا إله إلا هو رب العرش الكريم. ومن يدعو مع الله إلها آخر لا برهان له به فإنما حسابه عند ربه إنه لا يفلح الكافرون. فقل رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. سبحان الله حين تمسون وحين تصبحون وله الحمد في السماوات والأرض وعشيا وحين تظهرون. يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي ويحيي الأرض بعد موتها وكذلك تخرجون. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. والله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. والله الخالق البارئ المصور له أسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. سلام على نوح في العالمين إن كذلك نجزي المحسنين إنه من عبادنا المؤمنين. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. اللهم إني أمسيت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر فتمنك نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أمسيت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر فتمنك نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أمسيت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر فتمنك نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أمسيت أشهد وأشهد حملة أرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أمسيت أشهد وأشهد حملة أرشك وملائكتك وجميع الخلق جميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أمسيت أشهد وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أمسيت أشهد وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا بمحمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا بمحمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. 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 اللهم إني أسألك من فجاءة الخير وأعوذ بك من فجاءة الشر. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت وخلقتني وأنا عبدك وأنا على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت. أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت. أبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت عليك توكلت وأنت رب العرش العظيم. ما شاء الله كان وما لم يشاء لم يكن ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأن الله قد أحاط بكل شيء علما. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من شر نفسي ومن شر كل دابة أنت آخذ بناصيتها. إن ربي على صراط مستقيم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث ومن عذابك أستجير. أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي ولا إلى أحد من خلقك طرفة عين. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل. أعوذ بك من جبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إني أسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا وأهلي ومالي. اللهم استر عوراتي وآمن روعاتي. اللهم احفظني من بين يدي ومن خلفي وعن يميني وعن شمالي ومن فوقي. وأعوذ بعظمتك أن أغتال من تحتي. اللهم أنت خلقتني وأنت تهديني وأنت تطعمني وأنت تسقيني وأنت تميتني وأنت تحييني وأنت على كل شيء قدير. أمسينا على فطرة الإسلام وعلى كلمة الإخلاص وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. اللهم بك أمسينا وبك أصبحنا وبك نحيا وبك نموت وعليك توكل وإليك المصير. أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم إني أسألك خير هذه الليلة فتحها ونصرها ونورها وبركاتها وهداها. اللهم إني أسألك خير هذه الليلة وخير ما فيها وخير ما قبلها وخير ما بعدها. وأعوذ بك من شر هذه الليلة وشر ما فيها وشر ما قبلها وشر ما بعدها. اللهم أمسى بي من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك. فلك الحمد ولك الشكر على ذلك. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا ناسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله عدد ما خلق في السماء سبحان الله عدد ما خلق في الأرض سبحان الله عدد ما بين ذلك سبحان الله عدد ما هو خالق الحمد لله عدد ما خلق في السماء الحمد لله عدد ما خلق في الأرض الحمد لله عدد ما بين ذلك الحمد لله عدد ما هو خالق لا إله إلا الله عدد ما خلق في السماء لا إله إلا الله عدد ما خلق في الأرض لا إله إلا الله عدد ما بين ذلك لا إله إلا الله عدد ما هو خالق الله أكبر عدد ما خلق في السماء الله أكبر عدد ما خلق في الأرض الله أكبر عدد ما بين ذلك الله أكبر عدد ما هو خالق لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما خلق في السماء لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما خلق في الأرض لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما بين ذلك لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما هو خالق لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام الملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة
في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزينة عرشه ومداد كلماته. Before we end with the dua, just to remind, next week inshallah we will be at Rumah Ustaz Nazir. We will have Maulid at Rumah Ustaz Nazir. Then maybe Hakim, do you want to join via Zoom ke apa?
Boleh. I don't know how it will work out.
I mean, if you want to join via Zoom, then maybe we can also set up Zoom lah. But I hope those who can make it try to come lah. Inshallah, we have a Maulid in Ustaz Nazir's house, and then we before and then the following week, then inshallah we just go through zakat. And if anyone has questions with regards to puasa. InsyaAllah wallahu a'lam bisawab. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbana anfa'na bima 'allamtana, rabbi 'allimna alladhi yanfa'una, rabbi faqihna wa faqih ahlana wa qarabatin lana fi dinina ma'a ahli al-kutri untha wa dhakar. ربي وفقنا ووفقهم لما ترتدي قولا وفعلا كرما وارزق الكل حلالا دائما واخذ الأتقياء علما نحظى بالخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا أصلح لنا كل شؤون وأقر بالرضا منك العيون واقض عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل أن تأتينا الرسل المنون واغفر واستر أنت أكرم من ستر وصلاة الله توشى المصطفى من إلى الحق دعانا والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل كرام الشرفاء وعلى الصحب المصابيح الغرار اللهم اهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسارع في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خالف أمرك وعصاك وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم يا ربنا اعترفنا بأننا اقترفنا وأننا أسرفنا على لظى أشرفنا فتب علينا توبة تغسل لكل حوبة واستر لنا العورات وآمن الروعات واغفر لوالدينا ربي ومولودينا والأهل والإخوان وسائر الخلان وكل ذي محبة أو جيرة أو صحبة والمسلمين أجمع آمين ربي فاسمع فضلا وجودا منا لا باكتساب منا بالمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سولي بالمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سولي بالمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سولي صلى وسلم ربي عليه عد الحب وآله وصحبه عدادة الصحب والحمد لله في البدء والتناهي. Okay, thank you very much everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.